necessary.
Cool. All right, I was going to start this speech with a concussion joke, but now I can't remember it. Today I'm going to be covering the basics of a concussion. Whether you're a washed-up athlete, a beer league champion, or you're living vicariously through your children, knowing the ins and outs of a concussion can never hurt. As a student athlete and a psychology major, I have seen many concussions firsthand and what they do to the people I know. In today's world of sports, coaches, athletes, and parents don't know enough about what a head injury is, what it may feel like for the person who is injured, and what the different regulations for recovery are through the different levels of play. So today I'll be going through what a concussion is, what some signs and symptoms are of a concussion, and the different protocols for recovery through the different levels of athletics. So, what is a concussion? The CDC defines a concussion as an injury caused by a bump, blow, or jolt to the head, or a penetrating head injury that disrupts the normal function of a brain. Now, this can account for more than 2.5 million ER visits each year. Some things that account for these are falls, strikes or blows to the head, and one of the bigger chunks of concussions are actually motor vehicle accidents. You might be wondering, well, why do I care? It's just my head, it's a little headache. But actually the severity of this is that sometimes if you get hit hard enough in the right part of your brain, you can actually die because there's a little stem at the back of your brain that controls your involuntary muscle movements such as breathing and your heart rate. So with so many concussions happening each year, you might wonder how to tell if you have a concussion or if you just have a headache. So some signs and symptoms, some big giveaways. So if you're unconscious after getting nailed in the head, you're probably concussed. Some other bigger signs are nauseous, dizziness, and dilated pupils. Some smaller signs, light sensitivity and sound sensitivity, as well as kind of a dazed and confused look. They kind of look like they're high, like they can't really concentrate at all, and they're just kind of like staring off into blank spaces. This year, actually, on my soccer team, one of the girls during a game went up for a header with another girl, and when they went up for the header, they knocked heads, and the girl on our team actually got a cut on her head, and she felt fine. They cleaned her up, they put her back in the game, but it wasn't until the next day where she actually started feeling the effects of a concussion, and she actually only had one eye dilated, and the other pupil was fine, so they actually had to take her for an MRI. She was fine in the long run, just a concussion, but still the protocols, and it's kind of a big deal. So now that we have a basic understanding of what a concussion is, how do high schools, the NCAA, and the NFL take precautions to make sure our athletes are recovering properly? So the different protocols. So according to the article, Raising Awareness of the Severity of Concussions, the writer Lindsay Newman paraphrases USA Today saying, according to USA Today, only Texas, Oregon, and Washington have enacted laws since 2007 to meaningfully tackle the issue on concussions. So that's kind of insane. Only 3 states in the United States actually have protocols on what athletes should do once they get a concussion. Now, if all these other 47 states don't have protocols in action, if they have an athletic trainer there, they usually have some type of protocol. But if not, schools follow a 15-minute rule that if concussion symptoms persist after 15 minutes, that they're probably concussed. But if they don't persist, then they're fine to go back in the game. But as you saw with one of my teammates, she didn't even feel it till the next day, so there's issues there. Now, the same writer Newman continues about the NCAA's strict protocols on concussion. She states in the NCAA handbook that revisions emphasize not letting student athletes return to play the same day after a long duration of significant symptoms. And if the symptoms continue, the athlete should not participate until cleared by a physician. Now, we here at Parkside follow this rule, and we actually go through a lot of baseline testing before season begins to find out what our basic neurological functioning is, so that when we do possibly are concussed or when we do get hit in the head, they can tell if something's different in our heads. Now, in the NFL, they have some different rules as well, and they've been in the spotlight for kind of ignoring concussions. So now they've set in some rules such as that their players must go through not only neurological testing, but psychoneurological testing as well, and then before they can return, they actually have to be cleared by their team physician as well. So now that we have a basic understanding of what a concussion is and how to tell if you're suffering from one, and the different levels of recovery throughout the different levels of athletics. So now that we know what these signs and symptoms to look for are, and that it's not just a headache, we can and definitely take the proper precautions when we spot one when it happens. Thank you.